from the News Channel 5 Network. This is Que Pasa Nashville.
Bienvenidos and welcome to Que Pasa Nashville. My name is Cristina Allen and thank you for joining me. I'm excited to bring a new business to Nashville. I have Jason Brown, who's the CEO of Aro Lucha. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay. And we have Diana Rosales, who is the branding manager for the organization, and a new organization that's just going to launch, and I'm excited to have you on to tell people what is Aro, as I'm going to say it like Lucha, because I have an idea what it is, but tell the viewers, what is your new company?
Yeah, absolutely. And first, thank you for having us on the show. So Aro Lucha is a professional Lucha Libre Latino promotion. So we're bringing some of the hottest stars and luchadors out of Mexico, and the company mission really is to take an authentic Lucha Libre product out of Mexico and deliver it to the Hispanic and Latino community.
Okay, you got to back up, because you got to explain to people what a Lucha Libre is. I mean, it's very new to this community. I know we have a large Latino community, and most people who watch my show, we know we're the fastest growing, the third fastest growing in population-wise. We know that in the year 2040, Mayor Carl Dean did a study what we're going to look like, and Davidson County will be 34% Latinos. Wow. So the timing of this is perfect. It's a very young community. 30% of Metro students, of 88,000, are English language learners, of which 26% are Spanish. So the timing of people to understand our growth in the Latino community, which includes my grandchildren, even though I married a Southern boy from Smyrna, Tennessee, and my mom's from Mexico, it's the growth of our Latino community to understand what Lucha Libre is, but most people don't. So can you give me a little view of what is a Lucha Libre?
Are you familiar with professional wrestling?
Yes, I am.
WWE, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, a lot of those characters and stars. So Lucha Libre is the Mexican authentic version of that. And it's really characterized by masks, very colorful, a lot of acrobatics. They're very, very, very fast-paced. One of the things that we love about it is it's more family-oriented. Okay. It's a phenomenal sport in the sense that the fans in Mexico really treat them as really stars and athletes. Right. We're here in America, they're kind of looked at as characters. There, when we went to a couple shows in Tijuana and El Paso, it wasn't uncommon to hear the crowd oohing and eyeing, and
so
clapping.
So it would be a little bit like WWE then, where there's just dedicated fans, they buy merchandise, they follow them, they Instagram. I mean, these are characters that they believe in and enjoy watching and being part of.
Absolutely. The event we went to in Tijuana sold over 5,000 tickets just in that town. So
wow,
it has
that
a
is
huge
amazing.
following.
And is it? And why Nashville?
Well, why Nashville? We live here. We love Nashville. My partners both live in Franklin. My wife was born and raised here. This is our home. Okay. So Nashville's given a lot to us. So we want to kind of give back and serve the Nashville community. So this is home, and this is where we'll stay. So.
And Diana, you have been a part of this company, and so where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Mexico.
Mexico. So did you grow up with this?
I did. As a child, I would watch Lucha Libre shows with my dad, and I'm not particularly like a huge
not yet. That's
not yet, but I can tell you that I'm really excited about what's coming with Aro Lucha, because it's just gonna be a little bit different. It's gonna be so family oriented. We're bringing amazing stars that
and these are stars that everyone knows, that the Latino community know. That it's like if we brought in a big star.
Definitely. I mean, just like Jason said. Lucha Libre, it's treated like a tradition in Mexico, so people relate to this luchadores, so we want to portray that here and give that to the Hispanic community in the United States.
I mean, with the families, especially what you said. I'm going to back up on just a personal touches. My mother, my uncle, mi tío Luis, in Guaymas, Sonora, which is a city in Mexico, lived next to a Lucha Libre wrestling facility, and I remember as a kid when we would stay with mi tío Luis and mi tía Betsy that we would go over there. And you know, you just saw those masks. You just remember the masks, the merchandising. It was like a local place. But I also have to add that my cousin in Mexico, who had Down syndrome, and he was fanatic and would carry. I remember his arm was full of the mask, and every day he had a different mask, had all the stats, knew all the details about that character, and every day he would wear a different one. So I grew up knowing what Lucha Libre is, and I have to admit, forgot about it as I grew up in the United States, but visited Mexico a lot. And so until Jack Black in what's that?
Nacho Libre.
Nacho Libre, which some people know about that because it was a great movie. So there is some knowledge to those that watch that movie because it had such success to understand a little bit about it. But this is at a whole different entertainment level. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And you know, to play off of that is, you know, I think about how that sport in Lucha Libre impacted his life. If he knew all the stats, if he carried around all the masks, think how important that was to him. And you know,
it was his identity.
It was phenomenal. You know, so I think that's what we really love about it. You know.
Okay, so let's back up. How did you know about Lucha Libre? If you are you any part of Hispanic in you?
I am not. Okay. So my mother's from Saigon.
Okay.
So she's from Vietnam, and she came here when she was 17 years old. So she is an immigrant.
Okay.
So we have that in common, a lot with the Latino community, and very hard worker. So she came here when she was 17. She sold jewelry out of the back of her car, and she would take one little gold chain, and she would sell that gold chain over and over and over again, and she would never let you actually buy it. She would talk you into putting on layaway so she could sell it over and over and over again. And then if someone bought it, she would drive in the middle of the night to Atlanta, buy one just like it, and then come back. Very, very hard worker, you know. And so she did that for many years until she was able to open up her own store, you know, and just, you know.
So the hard ethic works is there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so based on that, I think that's where I got my work ethic from. Never knew anything about Lucha Libre. I was a film guy, so I went to film school, produced 2 movies, had my degree in TV and film. And about 4 years ago, I had a mutual friend at CAA, and he knew that I wanted to get out of the advertising world and back into the film world. And he said, "Hey, I have 2 guys that I think you should meet. You guys have the same values, faith-based values. You want to make family content." And so they introduced me to Ron and Don Harris.
Okay.
Famously known as the Harris Brothers, Creative Control, and they wrestled at WWE at the highest level. So
they are true WWE wrestlers that you understood the intricate part of wrestling.
Absolutely. They were performers.
Behind the scenes, the performers.
They were wrestlers for 17 years, so they saw it in front of the camera. Then afterwards, they got into the business and the operation side, and they ran the production for TNA and Impact Wrestling for many, many years. So thousands of hours of TV content, thousands of productions.
So you know the lights, the whistles, the sound, the fog, all that is part of what you do.
Absolutely. And I've been really blessed to have them as partners because they've taught me so much. So only in the past 2.5, 3 years have I been around wrestling, and I've got to really learn kind of behind the curtain and really what makes it tick. And I've fallen in love with all of the storylines and the characters and really the business behind the sport.
And so do you produce the shows and hire out are you the promoter for these touring type of artists, or are you the so are you the promoter or are you the producer, or both?
We're very similar. We're really both. A lot of promoters will run a show, and the way they run a show is they'll come in, rent a venue, they'll bring in the stars, they'll put the show on, sell the tickets, and then they're done. We really look at ourselves more like WWE, which is a vertically integrated production company.
Okay.
So we'll not only put on the shows and tour around the United States, we'll do a lot of events here in Nashville, but it really runs the gamut. We'll write the scripts, we'll produce the shows, we'll create shoulder programming off of that. You know, we have a comedy that's based on Lucha Libre that's in production or in pre-production right now. So there's a lot of production elements where we want to create content.
And so are you creating, as the Southeast is the fastest growing Latinos, which is a new population for some of the Southeast cities, I mean, are you focusing on bringing that to the new Latinos that are here, or are you still going to the Houstons or the, you know, Arizona where there's already established stuff, or both?
We're really doing both.
Okay.
You know, so we're really doing both, and even in our branding, it comes back to we took a lot of elements out of the traditional Hispanic and Latino community. Some of our fonts are from the 1980 or 1960s Olympics. They were in Mexico. A lot of the colors. So we want to really cater to the new audience, but then also not a traditional transition, you know,
and
back
as
to
you
the,
know, like for instance in Nashville, we're a young community. I mean, there's not a lot of abuelos, grandparents, but it's a very young and healthy community with a lot of children. So yeah, you're going to have both because they're going to remember that. And Seth, Diana, you were talking about really understanding in your expertise how to market to the Latinos. What is the characteristics you think is important to market to families in something like this?
Well, first of all, social media is going to be our #1 marketing tool. But other than that, you know, out of the marketing tool, social media is going to bring in a lot of, we're making Aro Lucha a character, you know. He's going to come to life. He's going to be a fun character. He's going to understand the Hispanic community. He's going to bring, you know, understand
so Aro
the
Lucha
culture.
will be a character within.
That's what we want to try to show, you know, the people, you know,
Like
he's
Chuck E. Cheese is to Chuck E. Cheese. Aro Lucha would be your mascot, your primary.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So we want to show the colorful and fascinating, mysterious, you know, world of the Lucha Libre through Aro Lucha.
That is exciting. So let's talk about how do you, when you said social media, based on my marketing, and you correct me if I'm wrong or add to this, is Latinos are Facebook social media driven?
Yes,
radio
completely.
driven. They're not, their radio, their social network is huge, they share. Is that a primary opportunity for you? Yes,
we're looking definitely at Facebook and YouTube in the future. The Hispanic community is always online. They have, you know, their tablets at their fingertips and their phones and everything.
And
so
they do everything online.
They do everything online, and one of the reasons is because, you know, they live in the United States and they have their families in other countries, so they try to keep up with their, you know, they try to show their families what they're doing, what's going on with their lives.
They do the two worlds, two cultures. And
so
stuff,
we want, you know, we want to target that community, you know, and we want to entertain them and bring laughs, you know, and
that's going to be done through your marketing.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to continue to talk about, and give me the correct saying, it's Aro Lucha?
Aro Lucha.
Aro Lucha. Aro Lucha, which is a new company here in Nashville, but opportunity to see amazing shows, and we'll tell you more about it as we right back with Que Pasa Nashville.